Valentine's Day is a day that many couples look forward to, but for others, it's the worst day of the year. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. How is everything going? Today's topic is Valentine's Day, the most romantic holiday of the year where couples all around the world get together to show their love to each other, whether it be a candlelit dinner or a nice box of chocolates. What are you gonna do on Valentine's Day? Are you gonna spend it with your special someone? Or maybe just have a nice little bit of me time, just relaxing by yourself. Today, the first topic on our list is British Valentine's traditions. Here in the UK, it's pretty normal just to buy a small present for your partner. Maybe a bouquet of roses, a box of chocolates, or maybe you take them out to a romantic dinner. Generally, men and women buy things for each other, but I've heard that men tend to go the extra mile. They go all out when it comes to buying gifts. Maybe it's related to that old school culture of, men paying on the first date or something like that. If you're especially old school, you might even write a handwritten letter, a love letter, if you will. That is something that not many people do nowadays, but depending on the person and the situation, maybe Christmas or birthdays, handwritten notes and cards can still be found to this day. I mean, don't you think handwritten notes they're a bit more special compared to just a random text, right? If it's your special someone, you really want to put in the extra effort, even if your handwriting isn't the best. It's the thought that counts. It's the time and effort that you put in to handwriting these special words that you want to send to your loved ones. Now, when it comes to love, romance, and Valentine's Day, we cannot forget about school. In school, especially in high school or college here in the UK, these teenagers going through puberty, everyone has a crush or someone that they are romantically interested in. And I'm sure that everyone has had those gossip chats with the boys or the girls about the pretty girls or the cool boys in the class. Hey Jack, I saw you looking at Rebecca the other day. You've got a crush on her, don't you? What? No, what are you talking about? Get out of here. Or something like that. In my school, there was this special event on Valentine's Day where any student could buy a rose for somebody that they liked, another student. And if they paid a small amount of money, they could have a rose sent to that student during the day. But of course, it was anonymous. That is, it wouldn't show their name. And on Valentine's Day, maybe during the lunchtime, these roses were delivered to those students, and it was a really nice surprise and very exciting because we never knew who was going to get a rose, girl or boy. And the funny thing is, when someone did receive a rose, all of the people around, all of the friends and classmates would start gossiping and, making an uproar. Everyone would get so excited and say, "Oh, Rebecca got a rose. Oh, who do you think it's from? Maybe it's Jack. No, I think it's Jacob." And things like that. And so many rumors would be spread around. But again, it was all anonymous. It was all a secret. And only the people who sent the rose would know. A bit of mystery is always exciting, isn't it? By the way, this kind of service, I don't think it's that common. It's not in every school, but our school did it. But apart from this, Valentine's Day in the UK isn't that special, at least in my opinion. But when it comes to other cultures, one very interesting country is Japan. Earlier, I mentioned that in the UK, it's kind of common for boys and girls to give presents to each other. although boys do tend to spend a bit more. But in Japan, on Valentine's Day, it's much more common for the girls to give chocolates to the boys. But these chocolates were not just to somebody that you have a crush on, someone that you're romantically interested in. You also have these chocolates called giri choco, meaning obligatory chocolates. These are chocolates that you give to friends or family or co-workers, people you appreciate in your life and love, but not in a romantic way. And on the flip side, you have honmei choco, which are the romantic chocolates, the special ones that you give to that one special person. Now, as a foreigner who's lived in Japan and worked there before, there was one thing about the Japanese Valentine's Day that kind of confused me, and that was the borderline between giri choco and honmei choco. For example, if there's a person that you're interested in and you give them the chocolate, how do you know if it's a giri choco or honmei choco? Like, are they different types of chocolates? Is there a sign that tells you the difference? Because, as you know, many relationships start as friendships. And even if you have special feelings for that person, they might not have the same feelings for you. Heck, they might not even realize that you like them in that way. And this is a common thing that happens in dramas, right? Where one person tries to make their feelings very clear, and then the other person misunderstands or doesn't realize, and there's just a huge miscommunication. So, my question is, if a boy received chocolates from a girl, how does the boy know if it's real honmei choco or just giri choco? Maybe somebody can explain to me in the comments down below. I would love to know. But in addition to Valentine's Day, a unique holiday in Japan again is White Day, which happens on the 14th of March, 1 month later. And very simply, it's just a day for the boys to give back their appreciation by sending, I think it's chocolates again. I could be wrong, maybe it's something else, but they will give something back to the girls they received chocolates from. Now, on to the next topic, let's have a look at some romance-related English language. First of all, we have a very special idiom, love at first sight. Wow, so romantic. This is a phrase we use to describe when you see someone for the first time and instantly fall in love. Your heart starts beating, you get butterflies in your stomach, and you're so enchanted or attracted by the other person's appearance. Of course, we don't know about their personality yet, but just looking at them, we are so attracted. It is love at first sight. Now, this is a common idiom, but I always wondered, is love at first sight really love? I mean, personally, I believe love is accepting everything about someone, the good and the bad, and choosing to stay with them. But that's something you can't understand just by looking at someone. That's something you can't understand with just love at first sight. So I'm not sure if it's true love. And for the next phrase, we have something very common, something everyone has experienced before, and this is unrequited love. This is a one-way love, when one person is attracted to another, but that person doesn't have the same feelings. This is unrequited love, and I think this is probably the most common type of love. And if you're watching Korean dramas, or any romance drama really, a phrase that you have to know is the love triangle. This is a complicated relationship where person A likes person B, but B likes person C, and then C likes person A again. So it's kind of forming a triangle, and there are 3 examples of unrequited love, and they have to kind of fight over each other and try to win each other's love. It's a very common idea that you see in dramas. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of romance dramas in general, just because all of the actors look too perfect, and it's just nobody looks that good in real life. Like, okay, maybe I'm just being a bit jealous because I'm not the most handsome looking man, but come on, I can't relate to the characters when they look so damn perfect. Okay, now that we've looked at love language, let's have a look at a few love quotes. These are things that people have said in the past that became so famous because of how beautiful or how well written they were. And our first quote about love is from A. Milne. If you live to be 100, I want to live to be 100 minus 1 day, so I never have to live without you. Wow, this is quite a strong statement. It's not as casual as just saying, I love you, and I guess that's why it's special, but nowadays, if you say something like this, something that's so poetic and beautiful, it sounds a bit too much. I mean, maybe it depends on the person, but that's just me. Now, our second quote comes from a man called Brendan Francis, who said, "A man is already halfway in love with any woman who listens to him." This is quite an interesting and thought-provoking quote, because it shows the difference between love for men and women. For men, it's quite difficult for us to express our emotions sometimes. There's an expectation that men should always be strong, shouldn't cry, and so on. And as a result, we try not to complain too much or share too much about our worries and what we are scared of, because that's a sign of weakness. So, when we do meet a special woman, or even just a friend, and it could be a man as well, anybody who will listen to us without judgment, someone we feel comfortable with, is a really special person. So this quote, "A man is already halfway in love with any woman who listens to him," that shows this kind of gender gap. Now on to our final quote, a nice one that actually rhymes, from Elaine Davis. "Loved you yesterday, love you still, always have, always will." Talking about love in the past, present, and future. It's something that will not disappear. Love is like a fire that burns forever. That's the kind of image that we're getting here. This would be the ideal form of love, but unfortunately, reality is a bit more depressing. You know, divorce rates are going up in many countries, there's things like cheating, and humans are imperfect. So finding this kind of love, it does happen, but it's relatively rare. But again, personally, I think humans are imperfect, and love is about accepting the good and the bad. And finally, let's talk about the last thing for today, the different types of love. There are generally 3 types of love, but when it comes to Valentine's Day, most people think about romantic love. Somebody, a partner that you want to be with forever. But there is also platonic love. This is a non-sexual, non-romantic love that you show to family and friends. But the thing I want to focus on for today, the last, third type of love that not so many people think about, is self-love. Valentine's Day is a day that many couples look forward to, but for others, it could be the worst day of the year. And this is because people who are single or who have had bad relationships in the past when they look at all of these couples outside holding hands and enjoying this time with each other, it reminds us of how alone some of us are. And many people believe they're alone because they're not good enough. Maybe they're not very good looking, or maybe they're not very sociable. There's something wrong with themselves. Self-confidence and the ability to self-love is becoming more of a problem nowadays, especially after the COVID pandemic, where everybody was staying inside and unable to go out and enjoy socializing with their friends and new people. And when you're swamped with work, you don't even have the energy to go out on weekends, even now when the pandemic is over. And as a result, people feel awkward. They feel nervous going out to these social situations and meeting people who could potentially be their future partner. But the problem is, many people lack self-confidence because they can't love themselves. Now, I did major in psychology in university, but please do take what I'm going to say with a grain of salt. If you want to know, do I really love myself? Do I even like myself? 2 questions you should ask are, 1, do I often have negative thoughts about myself? And 2, do I treat myself more harshly, more strictly than I do with other people? Often our negative thoughts will be something like, ugh, I'm terrible at my job. Oh, I shouldn't have made that mistake. Oh, I'm so stupid. But these same people, when they see their friends making the same mistakes or having the same failures, they will be like, oh, no, don't worry. It's not you. Come on. You're stressed. You're tired. And they will treat others very kindly and forgivingly, but they will treat themselves completely differently, almost unfairly. And if you want to fix this problem of low self-confidence and not loving yourself, the first and maybe the most important step is just realizing that you're being too harsh on yourself. You're not being fair to yourself. This is called self-awareness. This is being able to look at yourself objectively with no bias, and it's a lot easier said than done. It's easy to notice if other people point it out, especially if more than one person is saying it, but by ourselves, it's really difficult to realize these things, and that's often why we need to chat to our friends or, in serious cases, talk to therapists to help understand ourselves better and try to counter these negative thoughts. And by doing that, with a bit of practice, you can really raise your self-confidence and start pushing yourself into the real world and talking to more people, and hopefully, through that, you'll be able to have better relationships and maybe find that special partner that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. I think we'll end it there. I didn't really intend to go so deep into self-love, confidence, and the psychology of negative thoughts, but that's just something I'm naturally passionate about. That's why I majored psychology in university. But yeah, these days it's still pretty cold, but don't forget to take care of your mental health. Do things you enjoy, spend time with your friends, and really do your best to treat yourself fairly. And remember that you're a lot better than you probably think you are. And if you do have that special partner to spend time with, I hope you had, or I hope you will have, a wonderful Valentine's Day. I'm not jealous. Okay, so have a wonderful day, take care, and see you soon.